Honey, I hope you like these daffodils. They're a new variety. They're supposed to bloom more and more beautifully each year. I haven't had much luck with the other flowers I've been planting these past 5 months, but maybe these will be different. And when they bloom next spring, they'll remind me of the daffodils you gave me when you finally proposed to me 30 years ago. Oh, by the way, Bobby's back from the Peace Corps. He looks good, a little thin, but all right. He's still undecided about his future. He says a second stint in Kenya is a possibility. You remember Jill, his girlfriend? You liked her a lot. Well, Jill's crazy about Bobby, but I think she's losing patience because their relationship appears to be going nowhere. Young people today seem to avoid commitment. Jerry, we received another letter from National Financial Incorporated. They're putting lots of pressure on me to sell the bank. I wish you were here to tell me what to do. There's no one to help me keep the bank going as it is. And as I said, Bobby doesn't know what he wants to do. Oh, Jerry, I'm afraid what happened to the Delaware Bank and Trust Company 25 years ago is now going to happen to our Lancaster Bank. I know it's completely my decision, but without you, I don't know what to do. If you were here, we could keep the legacy going.
Our story's over, our job is ended. It's been quite a ride. We've accomplished what we've intended, always side by side. Sure, we've had our share of hardships on the road we chose, but they never seemed like hardships to me. 'Cause at every curve and corner I knew you were there. You were there for me.
You made it happen.
Not without you.
You made it happen.
You were there too. If you had to do it over,
I'd not change a thing as long as I could do it over with you. 'Cause at every curve and corner I know you were there. You were there for me.
all that we've worked for all through the years, both you and I, the world will forget and let disappear and fade and die. Who will be there to carry the banner? Who'll be there to carry on? Who'll be there? You made it happen.
Not without you.
You made it happen.
You were there too. If you had to do it over,
I'd not change a thing as long as I could do it over with you. 'Cause at every curve and corner I'd know you were there. You were there. You were there.
Remember, Allison, what old Mr. Cox used to say, time bows to hope undimmed.
Yes, I remember. The phoenix will rise again.
Hi, Mrs. Jones. I thought I might find you here. It's Sunday, and it's noon. Your visits have been very faithful.
Hi, Jill. It's nice to see you. Has Bobby caught up with you yet?
Yes, I saw him last night. I'm so glad he's back, but I'm not sure the feeling's mutual.
Has that son of mine still not given you any indication of his plans as far as you're concerned?
It's hard to tell.
You know that I wish he would. Lord knows what he's waiting for.
Things haven't changed much in these last 3 years, but I'm hoping that now there'll be some big changes. We're going to dinner at the Wilmington Country Club next Tuesday. Maybe something will happen. But then last night he began talking about another 2 years in Kenya. It's like he's afraid to commit.
I know what you mean. He's a victim of what they call protracted adolescence.
Protracted adolescence?
You know, the Peter Pan syndrome. When his father was Bobby's age, he was already a vice president at the Delaware Bank and Trust Company. I wish Bobby would join us at the Lancaster Bank. Now that his father's gone, there's no one to carry it on.
You know him better than anyone. He says he's an idealist who wants to serve and save the world.
Oh, yes.
He thinks what he's doing in the Peace Corps is real service.
No doubt it is. It's funny. Banking used to be considered a service industry, and Bobby's father and I have dedicated our lives to keeping it so. Strange how times have changed. Come on, let's get some coffee and talk.
Hey, Bobby! You look nice.
Wow, look at you. You're a knockout. All the men at this gathering tonight aren't going to be able to keep their eyes off of you.
Gathering? I thought we were going out to dinner at the country club.
We are. Didn't I mention it? It's the 25th anniversary of the sale of the old Delaware Bank and Trust crowd.
No, you didn't.
Well, Mom asked me to go to represent Dad. He's been to every one since the bank was sold. Now that he's no longer with us, Mom thought I should be there.
Do you want to go?
Well, not really, but I should. Mom and Dad met and worked together at the Delaware Bank and Trust Company before they started the Lancaster Bank. That old Delaware Bank was like a family bank.
Well, what's going to happen to the Lancaster Bank now that your father has died?
Well, that's something Mom's grappling with now. She and Dad are the sole owners, and she's having a hard time finding someone to take it over. She's got lots of offers from bigger banks, but she's concerned the bank will lose its local soul if she sells to any of them.
What about you?
Me? No. I wouldn't be any good at it. Besides, I'm not ready to commit. As I told you, I'm thinking of going back to Kenya where I can be of some use.
But you just came back from being away for 2 years.
I know, but I feel like I can make a bigger contribution over there than I can here.
What about me? I can't wait forever. Oh, I don't know, Bobby. I don't know what's going to become of us.
You spent all these years away from here, wandering the world around. It's time to adjust your wanderlust and consider settling down. 'Cause it's time you must decide. Your problem is clear, you have no career. You're just a tumbleweed. You have to admit it's time to commit. A job is what you need. And it's time you must decide.
How is a guy like me supposed to know What do I choose and what do I forgo? The options I can see, but which one's right for me? How is a guy like me supposed to know?
You must discern how you can earn a satisfactory livelihood. It's gotta be some industry where you do well and still do good. I'm tired of equivocation and fed up with this frustration.
But then how's a guy like me supposed to know?
You're just a guy whose head's in the sky, a dreamer adrift in the stars. For what it's worth, I prefer you on Earth, selling software or candy bars. So it's time that you decide.
A life of enjoyment I'm known to pursue, a habit I can't deny. But a life of employment would be something quite new, which with you I'd be willing to try. So it's time I must decide.
That's what a guy like you's supposed to do. Choose what you choose and choose what you forgo. The consequence is clear. If you want me here, now is the time that you must let me know.
I'd never shirk an honest day's work. I wish I knew where to begin. What occupation will be my salvation and pull me from this rut I'm in? I'm tired of equivocation and fed up with this frustration. But then how's a guy like me supposed to know?
With all you've learned, I'm not concerned. There's a chance you won't do well. 'Cause you are smart, and once you start, I am sure you will do well.
I'm tired of equivocation and fed up with this frustration. But then how's a guy like me supposed to know?
6 times. 6 times! Old man Cox predicted this, but even he would be amazed at how fast it's happened.
Yeah, Dutch. When deregulation was in the wind back in the early 80s, I remember him predicting the bank would be sold, but he couldn't have foreseen the Delaware Bank and Trust Company being bought and sold 6 times in 25 years. Man, the way things have changed. What would he say if he was alive today?
Hey, isn't that Bobby Jones, Jerry Jones's boy?
Ah, yeah, I think it is. I wonder how he's doing after the death of his father. Man, he looks like him, doesn't he?
Bobby Jones. Hey, come join us over here. I'm Dutch Johnson, and this is Skip Porter. We used to work with your father.
Hello, nice to see you. This is my girlfriend, Jill.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Mr. Porter, my mother asked me to pass on her regards.
Oh, thanks, Bobby. She's a great lady. Sorry about your father. He set the standards we all tried to meet. How's your mother doing? I'm sure she has things under control with the Lancaster Bank.
Yeah, thanks. Mom's okay. Now that Dad's gone, she's trying to decide what to do with the bank. She has a lot of offers.
Your folks spent the past 25 years of their lives building that bank into what it is today. It would be a shame if some outfit buys it who doesn't understand their concept of banking.
Bobby, I wonder what your grandfather, old Bob Thornsdale, would think today with all the changes in banking these past 25 years. What are your plans? I heard you were somewhere with the Peace Corps?
I'm still trying to decide. I'm pretty good with computers. Maybe something in that area?
I guess banking's not an option.
Well, my folks never encouraged me in any direction. They always said I should get involved in something that excites me. Banking doesn't seem to involve much challenge.
Bobby, have you left your manners in Nairobi?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to come out like that.
Oh, don't worry about it. Technology makes things seem easier today, but are they? I mean, that's the question.
Skip, you remember clipping coupons on bearer bonds in the vault?
Oh, and then sealing them in those little window envelopes. It seems so archaic today.
Or cutting checks instead of electronic transfers?
Or having to go to tellers for cash during business hours only instead of going to an ATM anytime, anywhere?
What? No ATM machines?
They were just beginning.
Or actually paying bills on paper?
That sounds like Kenya.
Bobby, can you believe we actually calculated interest manually and posted entries on ledgers by hand?
Dividend checks were delivered by mail. Memos were typed on typewriters with carbon paper, and we used something called whiteout for typos. Hi, I'm Brenda Caldwell.
Bobby, Jill, meet Brenda Caldwell. Brenda worked with Jerry Jones on DBT's loan portfolio.
Oh, nice to meet you. Seems like things were much more complicated then.
In many ways, technology has made things a lot more efficient, but we seem to have lost something valuable.
What's that?
Well, technology is good, but in order for it to work, you unavoidably have to have standardization.
What's wrong with standardization?
Maybe your generation is lucky not knowing what it was like when we started. Banking was more personal then. Each client was unique, and we treated all of them as though each of them was special. Today, we depend on technology. We all agree it's critical, but every service has to be standard, done by the books, with no room for exceptions.
Technology's an anomaly, it's a blessing and it's a curse. There's something lost in its efficiency, and there's a cost for all humanity.
There's a quandary in technology. For the life of me, I can't explain. Is it a boon or bane? Algorithms make all our decisions. No human need intervene, 'cause it would compromise utility, and standardized is now how things must be.
For technology's the new theology. I only state what now is quite plain. Is it a boon or bane?
Sure, things today are so much faster. What once took days takes nanoseconds.
Patience is a virtue no longer required, and certainly there's far less drudgery, far less tedium for us to suffer, and of course technology can never grow tired.
You never knew the way things were when personal service meant a person served you, not some soulless robot with passwords and codes.
You'll laugh at me, but I must tell you, self-service is an oxymoron. Think of what it means and what it forebodes.
To technology goes the victory, and the prize is finally won. So let's review this new reality. I don't need you if all I need is me.
Goodbye community, hello autonomy, and so I ask you, what have we gained?
Is it a boon or bane?
Skip, I know the bank in Georgia who was the fifth buyer, but tell me again the name of the new bank that is now taken over.
Name? You call NFI a name for a bank? It sounds like a government agency.
It stands for National Financial Incorporated. Doesn't tell you much, does it? Except that it's all over the country and does all things for all people.
I hear their headquarters are someplace in Texas. So much for subsidiarity.
What now?
Subsidiarity. The idea that all needs and problems should be addressed at the most local level possible.
Probably not unlike what you've been trying to do in the Peace Corps.
Hey, remember George Taylor? One of the portfolio managers at Delaware Bank and Trust. He actually has survived all the acquisitions and is now a senior VP at NFI. He says the pay is good, but all the focus is on bringing in new business. There's not a lot of time for customers.
George Taylor? He should be retired by now.
His wife won't let him. I saw him recently. He says that 30 years ago, what messed things up in banking was deregulation. But what's messing things up now is too much regulation.
Well, Dick, I'm glad I'm no longer part of it. I hear today it's all about compliance and not about the customers.
Compliance. Yeah, compliance and procedures and technology. You begin to wonder, who needs people?
Who needs people when they're policies? 'Cause policies are invaluable. The whole world knows that only policies are unfailingly infallible. It matters not what matters, no, not at all. Policies determine all protocol. Who needs people? Who needs people when there are policies? Policies are ironclad. One had best beware. Management becomes quite mad. So, lad, don't dare arrive at a decision all on your own without permission from some policy known. Defiance can't win the day. Compliance must have its way. Why have people when what all you need are policies and procedures? It's a fact that they'll do just as well as personnel, you can be sure. Why waste time debating what you should do when the answer's there in writing waiting for you? In that manual where you'll find your corporate policies. Customers who have a request had best be told the service that they seek may be delayed, on hold. The performance you will render, it has to be one that is consistent with policy. Reliance on judgment is out. Compliance is what it's about. Who needs people when they're policies? 'Cause policies are invaluable. The whole world knows that only policies are unfailingly infallible. It matters not what matters, no, not at all. Policies determine all protocol. Who needs people? Who needs people when there are policies?
Today, the talk about a sales culture and branding. Imagine what Robert Thornsdale Sr. would have thought of that phrase when he founded DB&T a century ago. What would Addison Cox have said about sales culture?
Hey guys, how's it going? I heard someone mention Addison Cox. He would have been appalled. I remember when I was working in the bookkeeping department.
Bookkeeping? What's that?
Yeah, what's bookkeeping?
I remember Mr. Cox would always tell us that banking was like dancing.
That's right. Each customer was special, and the relationship between us and that customer was unlike any other. Each had to be treated at a pace and tempo just right for them. Now everything is run by systems.
It's no wonder he had so many loyal customers. Delaware's banker. That's what they used to call him. He knew how to dance all right, and the bank was small enough he could do it with each customer. You know, when these big banks gobble up the smaller ones, it's like dancing with robots.
Whatever happened to Charlie Fisher?
He left the bank to join the Richardson firm.
How about that Billingsley guy that married Pamela Thornsdale? You know, Chandler.
After the bank was sold, he and Pamela have been spending half the year in Telluride and half in Palm Beach. They have no kids.
It was Bobby's parents who carried on the Thornsdale tradition of service. I wonder what will become of their Lancaster Community Bank. What do you think, Bobby?
I don't know. My mother says she has a lot of offers, but she doesn't seem happy with any of them. She'd like me to carry on, but it wouldn't be a good fit. I'm looking for something where I can make a difference.
What's this? Was that the bank's mascot?
Yes, it's a phoenix, the mythical bird in Greek mythology that always rose from the ashes of its own destruction. It's a symbol of hope.
Don't let us old-timers get you down, Bobby. It's true that this Addison Cox we talk about so fondly predicted the challenges that deregulation and technology would bring to banking. But he also predicted something else. And it's the reason the bank's mascot was the phoenix.
What's that?
He said that there will always be more to banking than the bottom line because customers eventually realize when they're being sold and when they're being served. Well, lots of things change with time, but as long as customers can tell the difference, there's always hope.
For those who've been around like me, each year it's easier to see that time gives no relief in its unrelenting pace. Father Time is far from kind. In fact, he is a thief who laughs in your face as he robs you of your peace of mind. Times change the way time chooses. The world we know, it never leaves the same. What's here today is tomorrow gone. Because the simple truth is old man time's a ruthless friend. Times change, but don't despair. The phoenix will arise again. I remember how the way things were. I remember they've all gone away. I look back now, how much has changed in a lifetime that began just yesterday. Some men claim history's main dynamic is time that conquers all. It's been this way, or so they say, since creation, since Adam had his fall. Time reigns in peerless splendor. No power on earth can threaten its domain. Yet there is one force to which time must yield. When the cold breath of December turns to ashes its warm embers, it's then time bows to hope undimmed, and the phoenix will arise again.
My folks never talked much about the Delaware Bank and Trust. What was it like, banking back then?
It was a small bank with a big heart. Surprised your folks never told you the story.
Delaware Bank and Trust Company, Eleanor Curtis speaking. Why, hello, Mrs. Schultz. Oh, it's nice to hear from you. Fine, thanks. How are you? Mr. Cox is here this morning. He's in the lobby with some customers. Yes, I know. Everyone says a bank president belongs in his office and not in the lobby, but you know how he is. Shall I have him phone you? Oh no, that won't be necessary. I have your number. Goodbye.
Horace, how are those grandkids of yours?
They're fine, Addie, just fine.
You're a lucky man to have so many. Your business has spread throughout the state so much, you'll need all the hands you can get.
Yeah, the family and business have both grown a lot since you gave me that first loan 30 years ago. By the way, how's Rosalie Graham? I'll bet you miss her. She was one office manager who knew how to get things done.
Rosie's fine. We stay in contact. Even though she's retired, she still is involved with the bank. I'll tell her that you were asking for her. By the way, she's coming in later today to pick up some reports. Speaking of good employees, we have a newcomer I'd like to introduce you to. He's a local lad who shows a lot of promise. Jerry Jones. I'd like you to meet Horace Jennings. You've seen his stores around the state.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Jennings. Here's my card if I can be of any help.
Well, nice to meet you, Jerry. Mr. Cox speaks highly of you, and you're part of a great bank.
Thank you, sir. I'm happy to be here.
Have you been hearing about the changes that may be coming?
What changes?
Changes in banking regulations.
No, like what?
Well, among other things, permitting banks to operate over state lines and even to buy up banks in other states.
What, is that bad?
It depends on who you ask. I guess it's inevitable. It will certainly make businesses more competitive. These rules were put in place after the Depression 50 years ago. Don't be surprised if we see a lot of changes in the years ahead.
Well, that's a good thing, right?
Yes, but I guess it depends on at what cost.
What do you mean?
I hope we never find out, because it could mean big changes. Hello, Leslie. Leslie, you know Horace Jennings.
Only by reputation.
Horace, meet Leslie Bartosh.
How do you do, Mr. Jennings?
Well, nice to meet you, Leslie. I'm familiar with your company.
Leslie, we were just talking about competition, and I was about to say that we're opening a new branch in Middletown. That area has grown, and there's a lot of customers needing service, and we want to be their bank. The board has decided to hire a young fellow from a bank in New York to help us as we expand. He starts in a few days. His name is Chandler Billingsley.
Chandler Billingsley? Pretty highfalutin name.
He's from New York.
Can New Yorkers run a bank as well as you do?
That would be difficult.
He'll be all right. When I met him, he actually asked me what my philosophy of banking is.
Philosophy of banking? Well, what'd you tell him?
I told him banking is like dancing.
Ah, how perfect.
What do you mean, like dancing?
Customers are like dancing partners. Each is unique. While it's important that you always follow the music, you have to accept and respect the fact that each one dances at his own tempo and style. If he doesn't already know how to, I'm hoping Mr. Billingsley will learn to dance.
Well, I don't know about philosophy, or for that matter, about dancing, but I do know that over the last 30 years, it's been you that have made it possible for my family and me to do what we've done. No other bank would pay attention to me 30 years ago.
I started off in the neighborhood where 4th Street crosses Market. Customers came to buy my goods from everywhere. Year after year I grew, and now my stores are fixtures in all of Delaware. I wouldn't be here I do? I knocked on lots of doors looking for a loan and got nowhere 'cause nobody cared. Then I knocked on yours and you alone said, come in, let's see how we can help you. You made it seem so easy. In no time I had an answer. No one today believes me. How you shook my hand and then looked me in the eye. Then you said, I don't see why we can help to make this happen. I wouldn't be here today. No, no way without you. Once we got through the Iron Curtain, immigrants with no country. Our future we knew was far from certain. We didn't care. We were convinced we could start life over wherever fate would place us. The place was Delaware. It just wasn't possible without you. My tale's not apocryphal, it's totally true. I came to this country in 1956 with nothing but hope for me and my wife. A refugee with a problem to fix, how to cope and get on with my life. The pastor at old St. Mary's sent me to see this banker. I was a little wary till he shook my hand and he looked me in the eye and he said, I don't see why we can't help to get you started. It just wasn't possible, no, not at all, without you. I was a little wary till he shook my hand and he looked me in the eye and he said, I don't see why we can help to get you started. It just wasn't possible, no, not at all, without you.
I'm hoping Mr. Billingsley will understand and embrace the Thornsdale tradition. I expect he will. Right now, he's in New York preparing for his move to Delaware. I hope it isn't a cultural shock.
He's fortunate to join such a fine bank.
Hello, Addie. Oh, I see you're having a busy day.
Hello, Rosie. Thanks for stopping by. I'd like to think that I'm the reason you're here, but I know better.
Oh, why, Addie, you know I'm always happy to see you. After working with you for half a century, I'm having a hard time adjusting to this concept of retirement. I miss coming in every day.
Well, you know that all of us miss seeing you every day.
Well, that may be, Mr. Bank President, but I'm still the advisor on the Thornsdale Trust, and I have my work to do. So if you would kindly give me the reports.
Of course, Ms. Graham. If you would just come this way into my office. By the way, did I tell you we have a new vice president joining the bank? He's from New York, and he comes highly recommended.
Oh, what's his name?
Billingsley. Chandler Billingsley.
Chandler Billingsley. I wonder how he'll fit in.
He'll fit in fine, especially with Pamela and her sister Allison.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Cox. Pamela Thornsdale just phoned to say she's coming to see you.
At least she gave me a 5-minute warning. I wonder why she didn't let me know before she left New York.
Pamela must have come down from New York on the Metroliner. I expect she plans to return on a later train this afternoon.
Probably. Rosie, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I know they are your cousin's daughters, but you sure have done a fine job bringing up those two girls. Do you ever wonder how strange it is that they're so completely different? Pam, I'm sure, is coming to ask for more money.
No doubt. It's curious that her sister Allison uses all her income to support the St. Joseph Daycare Center on Falk Road and never asks for more income.
Hello, Uncle Addie. Mwah. Aunt Rosie. Mwah. How nice to see you both.
It's good to see you too, Pamela. Is everything all right?
Yes, more or less. But I'm afraid I need more money. Living in New York's become more expensive, and it's been a year since my income has increased.
That's true. It was just a year ago that we increased the amount paid out to you and Allison.
I don't know, Pamela. You realize that the income you and your sister receive from the trust comes from the dividends that the bank pays into the trust,
Yes, I know, Uncle Addie.
and that the dividends come from the bank's earnings.
Yes, Uncle Addie, you've told me before.
And while the bank has done well, we can't afford to pay out more and more money in dividends.
Because you have to retain earnings to invest in the growth of the company. Yes, of course. I understand. When do you think you'll be able to increase the payout?
Give us some time to think about it, will you? You'd better run along. You'll miss your train back to the city.
I'm just the trust beneficiary. Uncle Addie, I know you keep telling me so, and that's okay. And the bank is my trusted fiduciary. What they say goes, 'cause Granddaddy chose it that way. If you intend for a happy Benny, you should know that I spend every penny. I'm just the trust beneficiary with a message for my trustees. I need more income, all that you're giving me now and then some. 'Cause what I'm getting now won't do for what I am accustomed to. It's not enough, 'cause things, they are tough. So give me more income, or else my life will be rife with boredom. To make each day both fresh and new takes real growth in revenue. So trustees, won't you please boost my income now? I must put on a good show, the one my station in life now demands. And so I need a cash flow with a steady supply at my ready command. It's not just one more rumor that core inflation continues to rise. Must I be one more consumer who'll be struggling by on burgers and fries? I need more income, 'cause things are starting to be a little humdrum. My quarterly remittances are nothing more than pittances. I abhor being poor, so give me more income, because I'm sure there is more where it comes from. The way things are, I won't survive, let alone grow and thrive. Listen to me, trusted trustees, boost my income. I need more income. Give me more income, please.
Mr. Billingsley, would you like more coffee?
No, thank you, Hamid. But I'm sure these gentlemen from Manchester and Smith would.
Chandler, with that kind of humor, I'm not sure how well you're going to fit in your new position in Wilmington. Folks in Delaware have a lot of money, but shall we say they don't necessarily have your level of sophistication. What do you think, Hudson?
Well, I guess we'll see. Seriously, though, Chandler, what Chester Wallace and I wanted to convey to you are Manchester and Smith's congratulations. Now, all kidding aside, joining the Delaware Bank and Trust Company as vice president is an admirable accomplishment, and we investment bankers admire you.
Yes, indeed, an admirable accomplishment. And for you, a well-timed one. You're a bachelor who can relocate easily, and you have a sterling education and business pedigree.
You're too kind.
Well, the Delaware Bank is a sound operation with solid earnings and a fine reputation for service. It's a family bank that's been around for the better part of the century, and the fellow running it, Addison Cox, started out there when the bank's founder, Robert Thornsdale Sr., was still around.
Oh, thank you, gentlemen. When Mr. Cox interviewed me, I was impressed with him, although I don't know what he saw in me.
That modesty will serve you well in Delaware, Chandler.
I'm rather excited about the challenge. Cox is up there in years and has intimated that the man who has the position I'm filling may succeed him as president.
Of course, we fully expect this, which makes our congratulations all the more significant. There is something else we would like to mention to you in confidence, however, if that would be all right.
Oh, I don't see why not. What's on your mind?
You know that deregulation of the banking industry is an inevitability.
Yes, I've been reading about it. Probably sometime soon. Interstate banking, all that. You know, banks will be able to operate over state lines, even buy banks in other states.
Right. Well, an anonymous client of ours, a rather large bank, is convinced of the inevitability. This client would like the board of directors at the Delaware Bank and Trust Company to know that should ever that bank be for sale, there is a willing purchaser, one who could pay, shall we say, a handsome premium for the transaction.
Oh, thank you for the confidence. I'll certainly keep the possibility in mind. But how familiar is Manchester and Smith with this Delaware bank, Chester?
Not very. We do know that the bank is owned entirely by a family trust created by the founder, Robert Thornsdale Sr., and that the trust terminates 21 years after the death of his only child, Robert Thornsdale Jr. Young Robert died unexpectedly in 1962, so the trust terminates next year.
The sole asset of the trust is the bank stock. So, ownership of the bank will pass to his two daughters.
Ownership and control.
I see you gentlemen have done some impressive homework.
We have our ways. The important thing is, whenever ownership passes from one generation to the next, it's a good time to talk about the gains that could be had in a profitable sale, what they call a liquidity event.
Incidentally, not that it matters, but word has it that the older granddaughter, Pamela Thornsdale, is something of a socialite here in the city. And they say she's very attractive and very eligible.
I haven't met Miss Thornsdale. However, she must be someone on the ball. She's already contacted me to meet her here in New York, probably to size me up. She did say no one in Delaware has to know about our meeting. So we're meeting for lunch later this week. By the way, your research has surely informed you that the folks at DB&T are strong believers in commitment to the community. Addison Cox told me that this family legacy is very important. The bank is like a civic responsibility. It's not just a business, it's a community institution. Persuading them to sell might be a non-starter.
Well, that's poetry. But banking is a business. Everything's on the table.
Banking's just a business, nothing more. Supply and demand. People who say otherwise just ignore. They don't understand. Banking's a commercial enterprise. Come on, get wise. Its only object is to make a profit and to maximize the bottom line. Nothing more.
Why attempt to stem this tide? It's useless. Deregulation is here. It's time the old boys step aside. They're clueless, 'cause the future's appeared. It's clear. Fish that are the biggest are the winners. It's the law of the sea. small fry end up getting fried for dinner. It's the market's decree.
Money's just a commodity, just like copper or iron ore. You pay the sum just to borrow some, and when supplies are low, you pay some more.
Friendly banks are an oddity, and they soon will be obsolete. The smarter guys, they all realize that the rules are set to suit Wall Street. The rules are set to suit Wall Street. It's gonna be the same everywhere, so friend, be prepared. All that's gonna matter is the price per share. The old ways won't be spared. Banking's a commercial enterprise, so man get wise. Its only object is to make a profit and to maximize the bottom line. Nothing more.
Mr. Billingsley, thank you for coming and meeting me here at the University Club. I realize you haven't started at our family bank yet, and I hope you don't mind if I ask you some questions.
It's fine, Miss Thornsdale. How can I help?
Please, call me Pam.
Thanks, I will.
You presumably know that in a year the family trust terminates, and my sister and I will become the owners of the bank.
Yes, I do. I hope you keep me as an employee.
Of course, of course. But what I need advice on is how to get more income from the bank. Uncle Addie, that's Mr. Cox, keeps telling me that the dividend payout is as generous as it can be because the board wants to retain some earnings to invest in the bank's growth.
That's a very reasonable position.
Yes, I'm sure it is, but I'm gonna need more money. There must be something I can do.
Oh, well, once you own the bank, you and your sister can always do what other banks do.
What's that?
Well, you could increase income by raising fees or cutting staff or eliminating some of the services you're providing for free.
Well, aren't those steps rather drastic?
If you want to keep the bank and get more money out of it, that's what you have to do.
Wouldn't that affect the quality of service?
Well, more than likely. There is, of course, another solution.
What's that?
You could sell the bank.
Sell the bank?
That's right. Sell the bank.
Well, we can't sell the bank. What would Uncle Addie say? What about the family legacy, the bank's role in the community, and all those other things Uncle Addie talks about?
Look, Pam, the industry has changed since your grandfather's time, and it's going to change some more, a lot more. Pretty soon you'll have interstate banking. You know why that's significant?
Why?
Because the Delaware Bank and Trust Company is going to be a very attractive buy for bigger, much bigger banks in other states. The big banks are going to want to have a presence in Delaware, and they will be willing to pay a lot of money.
You mean somebody would actually buy our bank for a lot of money?
You and your sister would be set for life.
I never thought of that.
You got to look forward, not backward. The old ways of doing banking are disappearing, and your father and grandfather are no longer with us, and Mr. Cox is about to retire. The competition is only going to get tougher.
So, you think we should sell?
You asked me how to make more money. I'm just identifying options. If and when the time comes, you and your sister might think selling makes sense.
I don't know, Chandler.
What do you think Allison would say? She has an equal voice in this.
Allison? Well, she'll do whatever I recommend. She always has.
Are you sure?
Sure, I'm sure. Allison is so focused on her daycare center, she hasn't time to think of anything else.
Staying independent is going to be difficult. In the deregulation pond, the big fish are going to go after the little fish. And besides, all this talk about service is good, but banking is a business, nothing more. And the way people make lots of money is by buying and selling.
History shows what every huckster knows, and all investors worthy of the name. To do more than well, you must buy and sell, if instant fortune is your aim. That's the way they play the game. Some there are who say the secret, especially some in your hometown, is to put all your eggs in one basket and watch that basket every single day. You buy and hold until you're old and gray. You'd be rich as Croesus if you'd heed my thesis and this elemental rule. You must come to the well and buy and sell. Being rich means being bold. It's not for those who buy and hold. When you make an acquisition, be sure to boost the bottom line. Then you'll be in a position to sell for a quarter what you bought for a dime, and make your fortune in very little time. Buy and sell, buy and sell, to make your fortune in very little time.
So, if you do decide to sell the bank, do you think you'd be able to persuade your sister?
Of course.
You mustn't let my sis preoccupy you. In matters such as this, she'll do as I do. This I guarantee. I'm sure she will abide by my decision. Between us there has never been division. She will follow me. She will, you'll see. Soon, oh very soon, just she and I will have complete control. Then, oh then you'll see, supporting me will be her role. 'Cause she looks on me as someone wiser, someone who will guide her and advise her. She will follow me, she will, you'll see.
You'd be rich as Croesus if you'd heed my thesis and this elemental rule.
I must come to the well and buy and sell. Being rich means being bold.
It's not for those who buy and hold.
When you make an acquisition, be sure to boost the bottom line.
Then you'll be in a position to sell for a quarter what you bought for a dime.
And make your fortune in very little time.
Buy and sell to make your fortune in very little time.
You mustn't let my sis preoccupy you. In matters such as this, she'll do as I do. She will follow me.
You know, when the trust terminates, your Aunt Rosalie will no longer have a say. It'll be just you and your sister, one against one. If Allison disagrees with your decision, you won't be able to make it happen.
Yes, I know that. But why should I be worried?
I guess there's no reason. She doesn't listen to anyone else but you.
Thanks for the report, Jerry.
You're welcome.
I see you've been busy.
The mornings are my best time. You know, before the phone rings or the customers come by.
Speaking of phone calls and customers coming in, Allison Thornsdale called me late yesterday. She's on her way here, and I wonder if you'd be willing to help her.
Me? Certainly, Mr. Cox.
Of course, you know who she is.
Well, she's a Thornsdale, daughter of Robert Thornsdale Jr. and granddaughter of the bank's founder, Robert Thornsdale Sr., and soon to be co-owner of the bank with her sister, Pamela.
Okay, I'm impressed.
It's a small town. Besides, I've seen her come in before. She's hard to miss.
Allison is lovely. Anyway, she's looking for some financing for her daycare center. In fact, here she is now.
Hello, Uncle Addie. How are you? Thanks for taking the time to see me.
Hello, sweetheart. You make it sound like I have something better to do. Allow me to introduce you to Jerry Jones, one of our new loan officers. He'll be happy to take care of you. Jerry, may I present Allison Thornsdale, director of the St. Joseph's Daycare Center on Falk Road.
How do you do, Mr. Jones? Thank you for your assistance.
It's a pleasure, Miss Thornsdale.
Well, Allison, I'll leave you in Jerry's capable hands. When you're finished, stop by in my office.
I will, Uncle Addie. Thank you. Mr. Jones, do you mind if I call you Jerry?
No, of course not. Allison?
I'd like a loan for $25,000 to upgrade the playground at St. Joseph's to make it handicapped accessible. Are you familiar with the daycare center?
Yes, Mr. Cox has filled me in. He's also told me that without you, it wouldn't exist. You're considered a very special person. Client around here.
I don't know about that, but I am confident that I'd be able to pay the loan back from our revenues and contributions, and of course my personal funds.
Allison, I am sure we'll be able to take care of you. I'm glad Mr. Cox asked me. You asked if I'm familiar with the daycare center. I am, but for a reason you wouldn't suspect. You probably know originally it was an orphanage run by the St. Joseph Sisters. I am an alumnus, if you like, having spent the first 18 years of my life there.
Really?
Yes. I never knew my parents.
You may know that my own biological father died after the Korean War. Robert Thornsdale adopted my sister and me after marrying our mother.
Yes, I was aware of that.
Jerry, did you know that before our parents left for that trip, when they were killed in the plane crash, my father gave Mr. Cox a sealed letter to be filed with the trust document, and that it isn't to be opened until the trust terminates, which is next year?
Mr. Cox told me that as well.
I've always wondered what the letter says.
What's in that letter my father has written for his little girls? What counsel gives he to my sister and me? I wonder what his message will be. What wisdom paternal has he to bestow? Oh, what's it say? What's it say? This time next year we'll know.
Surely it tells you how much he had loved you, and that he always will. Surely he asks you to remember him too, and not let time his memory erase. Surely he swears to you he'll always care for you. This time next year you'll know.
All I can recall is that when they went away, both of them took the time to say I love you. It seems so long ago, yet my sister and I find it hard to get by as we try to make it through.
He had a reputation as someone very fine, someone all the world admired and revered. If he hadn't died in that crash so tragically, then how different might things be if he and your mom were here.
What's in that letter your father has written for his little girls? What counsel gives he? Soon we shall see. I wonder what his message will be. What wisdom paternal has he to bestow? Oh, what's it say? What's it say? This time next year we'll know. This time next year we'll know.
You know, Jerry, next year I'll be a 50% owner of the bank. I'm not sure I have the self-confidence my sister has in running it. I know there's a new vice president coming down from New York to help Pamela and me. I just hope we'll be able to maintain the family legacy.
Allison, I'm sure your father and grandfather would be proud of you. I know I would be if I had someone like you in my family.
I don't know about that. But from what Uncle Addie says about you, you'd fit right in with our family. I mean, with the family legacy.
You'll do fine. You and your sister will be able to carry on what your grandfather started. And for what it's worth, I'll be here to help you. I'd love to be associated with you. That is, I mean, with your family's legacy.
I see you're looking at the Phoenix. This is your first day on the job, and it's appropriate to tell you about our mascot. Our founder chose the Phoenix and commissioned this painting. It's a symbol of hope and invincibility.
Greek mythology, no?
Yes. When you and I met a few months ago, I didn't tell you all the history of the bank. I suspect you know most of it, but I need to know that you know it. Robert Thornsdale Sr. started this bank just as the country was recovering from the Great Depression. He had one child, Robert Jr., who joined the bank after he returned from serving in the Army during the Second World War. It was around that time that Robert Sr.'s niece, Rosalie Graham, and I joined. We learned a lot from the old man about commitment to the community and about service. Robert Sr. died in the late 40s, and his son took over as president.
Was he married when his father died?
No. Young Bob was a bachelor when his father died. A couple years after the Korean War, he married a woman whose husband had died from complication caused by that war. She had two small daughters whom Bob adopted, and they are Pamela and Allison. Bob adored his wife and the two girls. In 1962, he and his wife decided to take a delayed honeymoon involving a flight to the Caribbean. And before he left, he gave me a sealed envelope with the instructions that I file it with the trust. I don't know what the letter says, probably some advice for his daughters. However, he must have been prescient because the plane crashed and he and his wife died.
So the trust which under normal circumstances would have gone on for another 80 years, terminates next year, 21 years after Bob's death. And his two girls are the heirs.
That's right. That's right.
What a tragic story.
Indeed. Indeed. I brought you on with the hope that you'll help Pamela and Allison run the bank when I'm no longer in the picture. That's why I wanted to be sure you know all of the background.
Oh, thanks, Addison. I won't let you down.
Okay, enough of the past. Let's go meet the crew. Everyone, let me present you our new vice president, Chandler Billingsley. He'll come around to meet each of you personally. In the meantime, please welcome him.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be here and look forward to making the acquaintance of each of you. Where I come from, the Delaware Bank and Trust Company has a very fine reputation, and I'm proud now to be part of you.
We are the Delaware Bank and Trust, a bank with a simple aim. When you decide to bank with us, everybody knows your name. You're not a number on some account, nor an item on some list. It matters not your balance amount, everybody knows your name. You may be the head of research in our local company. You may be a struggling pastor trying to build a church or school. Maybe you're a wealthy widow or a recent immigrant. We're here to serve whoever needs us. That's our golden rule. We are the Delaware Bank and Trust. Our goal is forever the same. Though something's changed, has changed, something's not. Everybody knows your name. Everybody knows your name.
Well, they're a friendly bunch.
Yes, they do a fine job. I'll let you make the rounds on your own, but first, let me introduce you to Jerry Jones, our new lending officer. I'm counting on you two getting along because the future of the bank will depend on it.
Welcome to Delaware.
Thanks. I'm looking forward to being here.
Easy prey, that's what you'll be. Easy prey, sitting pretty, like a cakewalk in the park or a candle in the dark. You'll be easy prey, calling me. I'm convinced once I begin, it will be a cinch for me to win. I no longer need to prowl. It's shooting fishes in a barrel with such easy prey calling me. When will the chase unfold? How will the story be told? How now, I wonder, will I seize and plunder you? You're such a charming catch, waiting for someone to snatch. Nothing could bar me from courting such quarry as you. You're the choicest fruit, low on the vine. You will suit this plan of mine, 'cause you haven't got a clue what I'm gonna do to you. You're such easy prey, calling me. Easy prey, calling me.
Chandler, you didn't meet these gentlemen yesterday. They were at an investment seminar. Let me present you our portfolio managers.
I look forward to working with you. I understand you take your fiduciary responsibilities very seriously.
We're investors, you can bet your nest egg will rest safe with us. We will help grow your portfolio, our judgment you'll find you can trust. And we can offer you a wide variety, the best securities the world can buy. You can be assured that your principal's secure and naught will go awry, because we diversify. Maybe you prefer to stick with equities. We'll pick a few of these and then we'll try to outperform the Dow and the S&P somehow, and hope not goes awry, because we diversify. We buy treasuries, we buy corporates, even convertible prefers. Rates don't matter, our bonds are laddered, our munis are mostly insured. So tell us how much risk you care to tolerate. We're prepared to allocate accordingly. Your cash will stash away in what's called a CMA, and naught will go awry, because we diversify. Though we focus on the long term, when we'll be retired and no longer can be fired, we certify your fortune safe and sound, and still will be around, and naught will go awry, because we diversify. Let us know your objective. Is it income or growth? Are you that special client who would like to have both? If so, our exposure's international. Few banks can do what we can. For a fee we will agree to put all of your funds in Japan. And we can offer you a wide variety, the best securities the world can buy. You can be assured that your principal's secured and naught will go awry, because we diversify.
Hello, Rosie.
Mr. Bank President, you must be exhausted. What a day.
It's been a good one, but being here alone with you is the best part of it.
You really ought to slow down and smell the roses.
Perhaps. If I had the right company, I would. What do you have there?
The figures of the family trust.
Ah, Miss Graham, always on top of things. Where would I be without you?
It's late, Addie. Time to go home. Another impressive report. Did we ever imagine 40 years ago that these levels would be possible?
I know what you mean. It would have been inconceivable back then. I wonder what Bob Thornsdale's father would have said about these earnings.
He'd be surprised, but pleased.
I'd love to know what he'd think about the technology that they're talking about. If what they say happens, we're going to see big changes, bigger than when we installed the automatic teller machines in our branches just a few years ago.
I understand you've begun using more computers for your processing.
That's right. That's right. You know, they're telling me over at the club that some companies are going to stop issuing stock certificates. Everything's going to be book entry. Can you imagine?
Pretty soon, dividends will be posted electronically. No more mail delays.
Efficiency. Efficiency is good for earnings, at least as long as it doesn't compromise service. More change is coming.
You think it's inevitable?
Yes, yes. And there's talk of deregulation. Mr. Thornsdale must be rolling over in his grave. Imagine banks from other states being allowed to operate in Delaware, or even to buy Delaware banks.
If it happens, it will certainly change the industry.
Consolidation will be the name of the game.
It's hard to imagine.
I hope this isn't going to be too much for Pamela and Allison. I wonder if the letter Bob left for them has any advice about the future of banking.
Unlikely. It was 20 years ago. But whatever Bob wrote, I'm sure it will be helpful. In any case, we'll find out soon enough. By the way, Addie, I've been meaning to ask you, doesn't young Jerry remind you of Bob? The way he is with customers. Oh, you must be very pleased with him.
I am for sure. Jerry personifies service. He goes the extra mile.
Yes.
Rosie, I'm kind of sad that the trust is going to terminate. You know by now that for me, it's basically been an excuse to spend time alone with you.
Well, as I remember, you plan on retiring yourself when the trust ends. Do you still plan on moving to Dewey Beach? Maybe you should consider staying here in Wilmington.
Well, Dewey Beach was the plan, but ever since Mary died, I've been undecided. Things seem to be spinning faster and faster. I'd like to step off the merry-go-round and just stand still. How about you? Now that you're getting off the merry-go-round, I hope you're not going anywhere.
Oh, nothing planned. But having worked with you for 40 years, it would be hard to walk away. Maybe we should find another trust we can work on. Oh, dear Addie.
Ages ago, when my ways were still callow, and dreams still so lustrously bright, how could I know of the years that would follow? All that I know tonight. Pages ago in the book of my story, in chapters where everything's new, no one could show me the future before me, or show me with you. How sweet the twilight now upon us, how soft its welcoming embrace. Daylight has waned its rosy hues, caress your face so tenderly. You haven't changed, but where's the world we once knew? Oh, stay a while, stay a while, stay a while with me. How varied were the worlds we traveled, how smooth, how rough the road we trod. Strange what remains of all we've been through is lost in the mist of memory. You haven't changed like the world we once knew. Oh, stay a while, stay a while, stay a while with me. When will it end and how long is our journey? This odyssey launched long ago. I won't pretend that the answer's within me. I won't pretend to know. What say you, my friend? What will be our where and when? Should we care? Who knows the roads that lie before us? How
See, it's been a busy month for you.
Yeah, a lot of people have been looking for loans.
You're sure making a name for yourself.
I enjoy helping people.
This loan for the St. Joe's Daycare Center, it's at a very favorable rate. We're not going to make much of a return on it.
Mr. Cox approved it.
I'm sure he did.
It's a daycare center, and I don't think Allison Thornsdale represents much of a risk.
Sure, but remember, we're here to make a profit. We're not charity. We're supposed to be maximizing return.
You and I have a very different understanding about banking.
It's the Thornsdale sisters themselves who benefit. It's no secret Pamela's keeping up the pressure from more earnings.
I hear you two have become great friends.
Yes, but it is strictly professional. Unlike you and her sister. I've seen how the two of you are together.
I think Allison is pleased with the way the bank's being run.
Of course, she knows you buy into the family legacy.
And what about Pamela? Do you think I don't see how you try to influence her?
Miss Thornsdale has her own priorities.
I'm sure she has. And I'm sure she's developing them with outside encouragement.
What do you care how she feels? What's it to you what she thinks? This is a business, not a charity. All that's important to us is how much we make per share. Why do you even care?
That's not the way we do things. This isn't who we are. We've been around for generations and our motto's always been people make the difference. That is why we care.
Times have changed, you've got to go along. They have, you'll see, you must.
Our clients prize our loyalty and pride. In us they place their trust.
Words are good for advertising, but all they are words, nothing more.
That's not the way it is.
Oh yes, it is, it is. You are wrong and time alone will prove it. Just wait and see. What do you care how she feels?
That's not the way we do things.
What's it to you what she thinks?
That isn't who we are.
This is a business, not a charity.
We've been around for generations and our motto's always been
all that's important to us is what are our earnings per share. That is why we care.
Look, Chandler, I am going to continue doing my job the way Mr. Cox wants me to. And just so you know, Mr. Vice President, after he leaves and the two sisters become the sole owners, I'm going to help both of them maintain this family legacy.
Of course you will.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Mr. Cox.
Morning, Addie.
You fellows all right?
Yes, Addie, everything is fine. Jerry and I were just discussing the loan we approved for Allison's daycare center.
Mr. Cox, Chandler and I were specifically discussing the interest rate you approved, and he suggested it could have been higher.
I see. You know, when you've been in this business long enough and you're successful, you'll come to realize that in a service industry, there's a special relationship between service and profit.
I've been a banker for a long, long time, And lads, one lesson I have learned, there's more to banking than the bottom line. Don't ask me why it is so. It takes a lifetime to know. There are many bankers of a different mind, ones whose whole philosophy is all that matters is the bottom line. I tell you, it isn't so. It takes a lifetime to know. Just look at all the families we've assisted with their mortgages, their jobs, and their degrees. Look at all the businesses we've helped launch when dreamers came to us with nothing but their dreams. We do so much more than boost our earnings, so much more than maximize return. We help people maximize their yearnings, banking so much more than what it seems. I've been a banker for a long, long time, and lads, one lesson I have learned, there's more to banking than the bottom line. Don't ask me why it is so. It takes a lifetime to know.
Hello, Jerry. Please forgive me for interrupting you. I realize it's after hours. I just wanted to drop off this payment and to thank you again for your help.
Hi, Allison. No problem. I'm glad you stopped by. I like this kind of interruption. Congratulations, by the way, on the playground improvement. You must be very pleased.
I am. But you're the one who should be congratulated. Aunt Rosalie told me about your promotion, Vice President.
It's no big deal.
Not according to the write-up about you in the Delaware Banker magazine. I saw the article.
You saw that?
Yes. Aunt Rosalie sent it to me. She says you remind her of my father. The way you treat people.
Boy, that's a big compliment. I'm just doing what I like to do, helping people. Besides, it's my chance to give back. I was an orphan lucky enough to be raised by the St. Joseph nuns here. They helped me, and now's my chance to help others.
I know what you mean about giving back. I have the same sense. My sister and I were lucky enough to be adopted by a man who could provide for us. I see my work at the daycare center as a way of giving back too.
Does your sister feel that way?
Why?
No reason, just curious. Allison, can I ask you something?
Sure. Anything.
Are you nervous about inheriting the bank?
Yes. Yes, but I can rely on my sister's judgment.
And do you think your sister shares your ideas about the bank and the family legacy?
Well, yes, I suppose so. Or at least she used to. Now that you mention it, she hasn't talked much about it for some time.
Well, you and Pam will be the co-owners. What will happen if you don't see eye to eye on something?
I don't know. I never thought about it. But I hope I'll be able to rely on your help.
Sure. For me, that would be very important.
Jerry, I'm so glad you're here. May I tell you something?
Of course, anything. But first, may I tell you something?
Okay.
I like you. A lot. More than a lot. My friends tease me about being a loner, but when I met you, my whole world changed.
Everybody said that you were somewhere waiting for someone not unlike the likes of me. And we'd meet and suddenly hear that rhapsody heaven keeps for lovers who near love's ecstasy.
As I gaze on you and see such beauty before me, I'm certain my friends, they had no clue. My someone could be someone like you.
I was very near abandoning any hope my luck would change.
My friends took turns reprimanding me and urged me to persevere.
You'd be worth a search and find, they'd said. When I found you, I'd agree.
These lonely times in this life I've led, soon they would disappear. Everybody said if I kept searching, I'd find you. Everybody said I could be sure
you'd appear and sweep me away, and I would know love was here, and here love would stay and never go. Now you're in my arms, and as I hold you so closely, I'm certain my friends, they had no clue. My someone could be someone like you. I was very near abandoning any hope my luck would change.
My friends took turns reprimanding me and urged me to persevere.
You'd be worth the search and find, they said. When I found you, I'd agree.
These lonely times in this life I've led, soon they would disappear. Everybody said if I kept searching, I'd find you. Everybody said I could be sure you'd appear and sweep me away, and I would know love was here, and here love would stay and never go. Now you're in my arms, and as I hold you so closely, I'm certain my friends, they had no clue.
My someone could be someone.
My someone could be someone. My someone could be someone like you.
Thank you, Hamid. Thank you. Well, Chandler, you're looking prosperous. How have things been going there with you these past 8 months? What news do you bring from the home of the DuPonts?
We've been looking forward to your report. Our client is still very interested.
I am happy to say, gentlemen, that things are going rather well.
Tell us more.
Well, as you know from my previous correspondence, the Thornsdale Family Trust terminates next month.
Yes, of course. And the two Thorndale granddaughters will be the outright owners.
That's right. Pamela, the older one, has developed a more enlightened philosophy of what banking is all about.
No doubt she has had a fine teacher.
I don't know about that. We do get along, though. In fact, I'm counting on a more permanent relationship with Miss Thornsdale. Nothing official yet, of course.
Congratulations in advance.
What about her sister and her 50%?
Allison always defers to her older sister. Fortunately, no one else has a say in the decision, so a sale is a high probability.
We can help you there, and of course you'll be amply rewarded.
Yes.
I'm counting on it.
Yes. Everyone, let me have your attention. This is a day of mixed emotions. It's the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. While Jerry is getting the trust docket out of the vault, let's raise our glasses to Rosalie Graham. It was 21 years ago that young Bob Thornsdale and his wife, Sue, lost their lives in that tragic plane crash. His cousin, Rosalie Graham, succeeded him as investment advisor on the family trust. More important, Rosalie took on the job of raising Bob's daughters, and he raised them herself. Today is also the day the trust terminates, and under its terms, the ownership of the Delaware Trust, the Delaware Bank and Trust Company, founded by Robert Thornsdale Sr., their grandfather, now passes to Bob's issue in equal shares, to Pamela and to Allison.
Right.
You're here.
Bob came to me on the day he and Sue left for that fateful vacation, and he gave me a sealed envelope and asked me to place it in the vault with the trust document. He said he would withdraw it when he returned, and of course he never returned. And it has been here for the last 21 years. I don't know what the letter says, but Bob was a thoughtful man, and it wouldn't surprise me if he wrote some advice for his daughters in case he and his wife didn't return. Here is the letter. To whom it may concern, the purpose of this present letter is to record and to state categorically that my issue includes a child I had out of wedlock with a woman who will remain unnamed. Not wishing to keep the child, the mother consented to have him live at St. Joseph's Orphanage in Wilmington, Delaware, if I provided the necessary support. I have done so anonymously and adequately. I understand that the name with which the child has been baptized is Gerard.
Gerard?
Jerry, is that your baptismal name? Gerard?
Yes, but I've always been called Jerry.
I can't.
He had a son? My word. Oh, Jerry, I always thought there was something Thornsdale about you.
Inside this envelope, there is a letter. It's addressed to my son. Jerry, I believe this is for you.
Dear son, can you ever forgive me for not claiming you as my own when you were a young child, as I do now after my death? You will judge me, perhaps rightly, to have been a poor father. As I write this, I dare to hope that you will be a fine man, if not in spite of my absence in your life, perhaps because of it. I ask only that you be kind to my daughters and that you remember me in your prayers. Lovingly, your father, Robert Thornsdale, Jr.
Oh, well.
Wow.
Jerry, this is incredible. You're the son of the man who adopted Pam and me.
Chandler, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to... This changes everything.
Don't worry, Pam. When the offers to buy the bank start coming in and you start insisting on selling, your sister and your stepbrother will give in. They'll decide it's better to start their own bank where they don't have any disgruntled shareholders. It's just a matter of time.
Jerry, this means you have equal ownership of the bank.
Means something else, too.
What, Jerry?
There's no blood relationship between us, so I can ask you this.
What, Jerry?
Will you marry me?
Yes, but on one condition.
What condition? Aren't we good for each other?
Yes, we are, Jerry. But if I marry you, it will only be if we start our own bank.
Start our own bank?
Yes, why not? It's clear that Pam doesn't want to keep the one we have. So let's agree to sell and start our own. We can continue the legacy.
Okay, Allison. With you, I'll make it happen.
Our story's just beginning now. Get ready for the ride. We'll accomplish all we dream to, always side by side. Sure, we're bound to have some hardships on this road we chose, but they'll never seem like hardships to me. 'Cause at every curve and corner I'll know you are there. You are there for me.
You'll make it happen.
Not without you.
You'll make it happen.
You'll be there too. Are you sure you want to do this?
I'm completely sure, as long as I can do it always with you. 'Cause at every curve and corner I'll know you are there. You are there for me.
All that we'll work on all through the years of yet to be. When we're no longer here, we'll leave to the world as our legacy. Maybe we'll be there to carry the banner. Someone will be there to carry on. Someone will be there to carry on. This still could happen, it's up to you. This still could happen, you can see it through. Oh, were I to do it over, I would tell you so. I'm only sorry I've not told you before. 'Cause at every curve and corner I hoped you'd be there. You'd be there. You'd be there.
Jill, remember that conversation the day we had coffee? Don't you have something to say to Bobby?
Yes. Yes, Bobby. You can make it happen. I know you can. I'll be there to help you. Bobby, don't you see? We can make it happen.
I have decided, no more delaying. The moment of truth is here. I know what to do. What's Bobby gonna do? The path is clear now, and I am here now. My days of indecision are finally through. What's Bobby gonna do? Up till now I've been blind, unwilling, unable to find the destiny waiting for me.
What's Bobby gonna do?
That was me yesterday. Now I'll act without delay. Nothing is gonna interfere.
We'll act today without delay. What's Bobby gonna do?
The world believes I won't survive, but soon they'll see me come alive as I do what now I'm gonna do.
The world believes he won't survive. What's Bobby gonna do? Will he thrive and come alive? What's Bobby gonna do?
I'm gonna dance, I'm gonna dance, I'm gonna dance. Time reigns in fearless splendor. No power on earth can threaten its domain. Yet there is one force to which I must yield. When the cold breath of December turns to ashes its voice